Have you ever met someone who looks mysterious at first glance? The kind of guy who walks into a room with the silent confidence of a movie protagonist. But something in your gut whispers, this doesn't add up? It's a strange feeling. Almost like watching an actor deliver the lines perfectly while missing the soul of the character. And that's exactly what happens when you cross paths with a fake Sigma male. Real Sigma males are rare, genuinely rare, but the world is absolutely overflowing with imitations. And the fakes? They're getting smarter. They've mastered the aesthetic. They've memorized the online quotes. They've perfected that silent lone wolf stare they think makes them look deep. But if you pay attention, really pay attention, you'll feel something off. Because no matter how convincing the performance, they always miss the psychology behind the Sigma mindset. The Sigma archetype has blown up so fast that an entire generation of men is trying to wear it like a costume. They mimic the attitude, the stillness, the look, but they don't understand the internal world that makes a true Sigma who he is. And that's where the cracks start showing. Acting Sigma and being Sigma belong to two completely different universes. One is a performance. The other is a lifestyle rooted in self-awareness, independence, and a mind that doesn't need an audience. Today, we're peeling back the surface, stripping away the borrowed mannerisms and exposing the signs most people overlook. Because once you know what to look for, fake Sigmas stand out like bright stage lights in a dark theater. Recognizing these differences doesn't just help you understand people better. It protects you from wasting time on men who use the Sigma label as camouflage for a much weaker reality. So let's dig in. Sign 1. They perform mysterious behavior. Fake Sigmas love to force mystery. They'll answer simple questions with vague half-sentences. They'll be cryptic for no reason. They'll hint at an interesting past but never say what actually happened. Their favorite lines are things like, "You wouldn't get it. I've been through stuff," all without giving you anything real. This isn't mystery. This is manufactured confusion. Real Sigma males are private, not mysterious. And the difference is huge. Being private means they don't broadcast everything. But when they choose to share, they're clear, straightforward, and real. Being mysterious, on the other hand, is a performance intended to make people wonder, chase, and imagine. A genuine Sigma will tell you, "I'm working on a project tonight." A fake Sigma will say, "I have something important to take care of," hoping you'll find the ambiguity intriguing. A real Sigma explains his boundaries directly. A fake one throws out vague lines like, "I'm just not like most people," without giving any real context. It all comes down to intent. The real Sigma isn't trying to seem interesting. His depth creates interest naturally. The fake Sigma tries to engineer interest because he thinks acting mysterious equals being a Sigma. You can expose this one easily. Ask a straightforward question. A real Sigma gives a straightforward answer if he wants to answer. A fake Sigma turns everything into a cryptic monologue because he thinks that makes him look deep. Real mystery comes from actual depth. Fake mystery comes from deliberate obscurity. And once you notice that, the fake becomes obvious almost instantly. Sign 2. They talk about being a Sigma male. And this is the biggest giveaway. If someone feels the need to tell you they're a Sigma male, trust me, they're not. Real Sigmas don't identify themselves with labels. They might hear the description one day and think, "Yeah, that kind of makes sense for me." But they're not walking around announcing it like a personality badge. Why? Because actual Sigmas don't think in terms of social rankings or archetype categories. That's the whole point of the Sigma mindset. They operate outside the hierarchy, not inside it. So they have zero interest in positioning themselves along the Alpha-Beta Sigma spectrum. They're not even playing that game. A fake Sigma, however, is obsessed with the label. He constantly brings it up. He uses it to excuse behavior. "I didn't text back because I'm a Sigma and we need space." He treats the term like a built-in justification for anything he wants to do. Real Sigma behavior grows out of authentic traits and genuine preferences. Fake Sigma behavior is copied, scripted, learned online. And you can spot this instantly by watching how they talk about themselves. A real Sigma doesn't self-label, he just lives. A fake Sigma treats the label like an accessory he desperately wants you to notice. If a guy casually mentions he's a Sigma male, what you're seeing is someone who discovered the archetype, thought it sounded cool and edgy, and then decided to wear it like a costume. That's not depth, that's theater. And at this point, you've already seen enough to know he's pretending. Sign 3. Their independence is inconsistent. This is one of the clearest giveaways. Fake Sigmas love talking about being lone wolves, yet their behavior betrays them every single time. They post quotes about independence, while obsessively checking who liked their posts. They brag about not caring what anyone thinks, then get defensive or upset the moment someone criticizes them. They claim they're perfectly fine alone, but constantly reach out when they're bored or need attention. Real Sigma independence is steady and consistent. They're comfortable alone because they actually enjoy their own company. They don't need constant social validation because their sense of self comes from within. They don't perform independence, they naturally live it. Watch what happens when a self-proclaimed Sigma receives no attention. Does he remain calm and keep living his life? Or does he suddenly start fishing for reactions, posting dramatic quotes, acting distant, or complaining about fake people? Real Sigmas never advertise their independence. They demonstrate it quietly, effortlessly, simply by being okay without constant connection. Fake Sigmas talk about independence nonstop, yet their behavior reveals how much validation they truly need. Once you learn to read these inconsistencies, you can spot the difference within minutes. Another simple way to catch the difference is by watching how they actually handle being alone. A real Sigma steps into solitude deliberately. He chooses it the way some people choose a reset button. And instead of shrinking in that space, he recharges in it. A fake Sigma, meanwhile, talks endlessly about loving solitude. Yet the moment he's left alone for too long, he becomes bored, restless, anxious, or desperately looks for distraction. Real independence has a quiet, steady rhythm to it. Fake independence is loud, performative, and collapses the instant no one is watching. Sign 4. They use the Sigma label as a shield for bad behavior. This is where fake Sigmas stop being amusing and start becoming flat-out damaging. They weaponize the Sigma identity to excuse treating people poorly. I ghosted her because Sigmas don't owe explanations. No, you ghosted her because you're avoiding an uncomfortable conversation, and now you're hiding behind a label to mask cowardice. I don't text back because Sigmas protect their time. No, you just can't be bothered to reply, and you're pretending it's some philosophical principle. I don't commit because Sigmas are lone wolves. Wrong again, you avoid commitment because you're emotionally unavailable, and the Sigma label becomes a convenient cover for immaturity you don't want to address. Real Sigmas absolutely have boundaries. They value their energy. They're selective with their relationships. But none of those traits give them permission to be disrespectful. A true Sigma communicates clearly and respectfully. A fake Sigma breaks basic courtesy, then tries to frame his behavior as independence. A real Sigma chooses his circle carefully. A fake Sigma is inconsistent, flaky, unreliable, and tries to brand it as mysterious behavior. A real Sigma is emotionally self-contained. A fake Sigma is emotionally avoidant and pretends it's because he's a lone wolf. When someone uses the Sigma identity to rationalize behavior that's just rude or immature, that's not Sigma energy. That's someone using a trendy label to justify being a jerk. Sign 5. They lack real competence. Real Sigma males are usually quietly skilled at something meaningful. Not everything, but they have areas where they've built genuine ability, and they don't need to broadcast it. Their competence shows through their actions, their work, their consistency. Fake Sigmas love talking about competence. They hint at abilities, drop vague statements about skills, or claim to be good at things. Yet when it's time to actually demonstrate anything, there's nothing there. A real Sigma who says he can fix something will literally fix it. A fake Sigma who says he can fix something will come up with reasons why now isn't the right time, or why it doesn't need fixing, or why the task is beneath him. Real Sigmas have projects, goals, crafts, or skills they're actively developing. They don't need to brag. The evidence becomes obvious when you spend enough time around them. Fake Sigmas talk endlessly about their projects, but you'll notice you never see results, never see progress, never see actual competence. They're always on the verge of starting some grand project, yet somehow never actually do it. There's always a reason, always an excuse, always a story about why their big moment hasn't arrived yet. And this matters for one very simple reason. Real Sigma independence is built on real competence. You can only move through life on your own terms when you actually have the skills, the experience, and the inner capability to carry your own weight. Authentic independence is earned, not acted out. But when someone tries to perform independence without having the foundation to support it, the illusion eventually crumbles. Reality has a way of breaking down the persona and exposing the difference between who they pretend to be and what they can actually do. Sign 6. They're competitive with actual alphas. This is one of the most revealing signs. Many fake Sigmas are simply frustrated alphas, guys who tried to dominate in the traditional hierarchy, couldn't pull it off, and then switched to the Sigma label as a way to feel superior without having to compete. Real Sigma males don't compete with alphas. They're not intimidated by them, not impressed by them, not even thinking about them. They're playing a completely different game, one that doesn't rely on social dominance or hierarchy. But fake Sigmas constantly compare themselves to alphas. They insist Sigmas are superior. They make subtle jabs at alpha behavior. They try to frame their avoidance of competition as some kind of enlightened superiority. All of this exposes the truth: they're still mentally stuck inside the hierarchy they claim to have transcended. They're still competing. They just changed the rules so they could pretend they've already won. A real Sigma sees an alpha dominate a room and feels nothing. Not threatened, not impressed, not envious, just neutral observation because it's not a game he's participating in. A fake Sigma sees the same alpha and immediately feels the urge to differentiate himself, to prove he's above that kind of behavior, to make sure others know he could compete if he wanted to, even though he absolutely couldn't. If someone constantly talks about how Sigmas are superior to alphas, or how alphas are shallow for playing dominance games, you're not dealing with a Sigma, you're dealing with someone who's still desperate to win a hierarchy he pretends not to care about. Sign 7. They're obsessed with how others perceive them. Real Sigma males truly do not center their lives around social approval. Their choices, their style, their decisions, all of it comes from within. Other people's opinions are just optional pieces of information, not psychological anchors. Fake Sigmas, however, care deeply about being seen as Sigma. They want you to notice the mysterious vibe, the independence, the aloof confidence. Their entire persona is meticulously crafted to scream, "Look at me. I'm a Sigma male." You'll see it instantly when they're misunderstood. A real Sigma doesn't care if people think he's odd, distant, or different. He's grounded in who he is. A fake Sigma becomes defensive the moment his Sigma status is questioned. He'll argue, justify, explain, anything to get you to validate the identity he's trying to project. Watch their social media if they use it. A real Sigma rarely curates an image. He posts for practical reasons or hardly posts at all. A fake Sigma treats every photo, caption, and story as part of a carefully engineered aesthetic meant to portray the mysterious lone wolf persona. Real Sigmas don't care whether you understand them or not. Fake Sigmas desperately need you to see them the way they've branded themselves. And that need for external confirmation is the direct opposite of what being a Sigma actually is. Sign 8. Their entire presence feels performed, not lived. This one's subtle, but once you learn to notice it, it becomes the clearest indicator of all. Real Sigma males carry a kind of quiet steadiness. Their energy feels grounded, natural, and fully present. There's no self-monitoring happening behind their eyes. They're not adjusting their behavior based on who is watching. They exist as themselves effortlessly. Fake Sigmas, on the other hand, radiate a certain calculated tension. You can sense that they're crafting an image in real time. It's not authenticity, it's choreography. You notice it in the small things. A real Sigma's eye contact flows naturally. A fake Sigma's eye contact feels performed. Like he read somewhere that Sigmas stare into your soul, and he's trying to reenact it. A real Sigma sits comfortably with silence. A fake Sigma uses silence theatrically, pausing dramatically to appear mysterious, only to seem uncomfortable the moment it stretches too long. A real Sigma moves like someone who trusts his body. A fake one moves like someone reenacting a YouTube tutorial titled, "How to Look Confident." And here's the thing. No one can maintain that performance forever. You can hold up a persona for an hour, maybe an afternoon. But with time, the cracks show. The difference between genuine energy and manufactured energy becomes impossible to hide. So trust yourself. If something feels artificial or stiff, if you sense someone playing a role rather than living their truth, your instincts are probably dead on. Before we wrap this part up, it's important to understand why some guys pretend to be Sigma males at all. It's usually because they want the aesthetic without the evolution, the image of independence, mystery, and attractiveness without the inner work required to actually become that kind of man. The Sigma archetype feels like a shortcut. You can claim you've transcended the hierarchy without ever having to compete in it. For guys who feel like they can't win the alpha game, or don't want to be viewed as beta, the Sigma label becomes a convenient shield. I'm not losing, they tell themselves. I'm above the whole system. But real Sigma traits don't come from labels. They grow out of self-mastery, internal strength, emotional stability, competence, and true comfort with who you are. You can't imitate that forever. You can only fake it until life exposes the difference. And that's the irony. By pretending to be Sigma, these guys do the exact opposite of what authentic Sigma males do. They chase approval through an identity. They perform for attention. They compare themselves to others. They compete for validation. Everything a real Sigma has long outgrown. If you spot a fake Sigma, the smartest move is usually to just let them be. They're not worth correcting, confronting, or arguing with. If you have to deal with them, maybe a coworker or someone in your social group, treat them normally. Don't reward the act. Don't challenge the identity. Just let the performance starve itself out. Because real recognizes real. Authentic Sigma males see the imitation instantly, and usually don't bother engaging. Fakes tend to drift toward people who can't tell the difference. They need an audience to maintain the illusion. But if you're a genuine Sigma dealing with someone mimicking your operating style, the most powerful response is absolute neutrality. Don't compete. Don't correct. Don't buy into the act. Just be yourself. That contrast alone does all the work. The rise of fake Sigmas is, in a strange way, a compliment. Nobody copies something that has no value. But imitation also muddies the meaning, making it harder for people to understand what Sigma actually represents. The truth is this: real Sigma males don't chase the label. They don't chase the image. They don't perform a personality, they live a principle. Their actions align with their values so naturally that the Sigma traits reveal themselves without effort or intention. If you're trying to develop that energy in your own life, don't waste time imitating the surface. Forget the aesthetic. Forget the online persona. Start with the core. Real self-sufficiency, real competence, self-generated validation, emotional stability, and complete comfort in your own presence. When the inside is authentic, the outside becomes undeniable. And if you ever cross paths with someone pretending to be Sigma, now you know exactly how to spot them. Look for the cracks. Watch the inconsistency. Feel the energy. Your intuition will catch the lie long before the mask slips. So if you've ever run into fake Sigmas showing these behaviors, drop the word authentic in the comments and tell me which sign exposed them first. And if you want deeper, sharper, no-nonsense breakdowns of masculine psychology, self-mastery, and real Sigma clarity, hit subscribe and join the Epic Persona community.